Welcome back. Today I am going to be showing you how to do a one pot wonder. This is a pretty simple technique that has a couple different variations and creates some really fun patterns. So today we are going to be doing the basic one pot wonder. I'm going to make two loaves, and the only difference is where I pour the soap in the pot. So you can see these are two soaps that I made, and they look very different, and this is simply from where I changed the position of pouring soap in my pot. So this is another batch that I made where, again, this one I poured from the front, this one I poured from the side. So you see, you can get some cool swirls from these soaps, or this technique. So I'm going to be using sugared spruce. It's a slow moving fragrance. It does discolor a little bit, but I'm going to be using various shades of green and white to make this soap, so it shouldn't matter too much that it will discolor. So I'm going to go and prep my oils. You can use your own standard recipe. I will include a recipe in the comments, but again, this will work with pretty much any recipe. You don't want it to move too quick, but otherwise, like I said, any recipe works. The key here is picking a fragrance that won't accelerate. So I'm gonna go mix the oils and lye that I have prepped, and then I'm gonna prepare our colors, and I will be back. Okay, so I have prepped my colors. I am making a 2.5 pound batch. So that is 40 ounces total for my batch. So I divided my colors up evenly into 4 sections. So each container has 10 ounces of soap. You don't have to do 4. You can do 3 colors, you can do 5 colors, you can do more. It gets obviously a little bit more complicated. You can do just 2 colors and alternate them back and forth. There are, I said, many different variations that you can do. Because this is a Christmassy scent, I am going with Christmassy colors, which are the greens, the variations of the green. Sugar spruce to me just says, hey, we need green. So that is what I am going with. So I'm just measuring out my fragrance into each of these. Now, when I pour this in the pot or into the mold, the first color in the pot is going to be the last color in your mold. So in this case, white will be my last color that comes out. And depending on what order I put this in, I think I might start with one of the lighter greens. The lighter green will be my first color in. Okay, so I've added my fragrance. I'm just going to mix them in. So you can see these are variations of greens. I actually added a little bit of white to this one because when I initially mixed them, I thought these two were too similar looking. And I wanted them to be a little bit different. This white is going to discolor a little bit because the fragrance does discolor, and that's okay. Okay, so the first variation of this soap is to pour the soap either from the front or the back. Doesn't matter if you pour from either of these sides, you're basically going to get the same type pattern. The second variation we're going to do is going to pour from either of the sides. So I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go with this color first. I'm gently going to pour it down the front. You want it to push away the soap basically. Not so much break through, but push it away. Okay, then I'm going to do the dark green. And again, I'm just going to gently pour it down the front so that it pushes the dark or the green we just poured the lighter green away. Okay, so this is our last color, and again, pouring down the front so that it pushes the dark green away but doesn't really break through it. We're going to take our mold, set it at an angle, and basically just pour back and forth. Just go back and forth. You're going to see that kind of aqua color is the first that went in, then the dark green, then the green, and now the white. And each color is kind of interlacing with the next, which is going to create a really cool soap. It's as simple as that. Okay, so here is the cut of the first pour, pouring from the front of the pot. As you can see, the fragrance definitely affects the white portion. I expect the white inside to get a little more yellow, but that's okay. So it's interesting that two of the greens, this green and this green, actually ended up pretty similar in color, which I'm guessing the fragrance is partly to blame. And I do gel my soap, so I'm sure that that probably had some effect on it as well. But you can see that we have one color. There is a difference in color. It's hard to see on the camera, but they're very similar. So we have the one color, then the darker green works itself in, then the lighter green, and then the white. And depending on, again, fluidity of your soap, that can depend on the pattern you get. This was a pretty fluid soap, so we've got finer lines and mixing going on. Okay, so I'm back with the second batch. So again, I prepped the exact same colors and the exact same fragrance. I'm just mixing the fragrances in. And then, instead of pouring down the front this time, we're going to pour down the side. This is going to give you a much more zebra-like pattern. The colors are going to intermingle more than they do when you pour from the front or the back. So it's still a cool design. I used to think I liked this design better, but I've gotten some really cool designs pouring from the front, so now I'm not sure which I like better. I think they're both unique and I like both of them. Okay, now I have to remember how I poured the colors. I think I poured this green, then the dark green, and if I'm wrong, well, it'll still be a cool soap and we'll still be able to compare them. It just won't quite be the same. So again, I'm pouring down the side. I want the soap to push away the white, not break through it. I think this is the right combo. Okay, so again, I'm pouring down the side. I want it to push away the lighter green. I'm gonna pour down the last color down the side. You can see my soap is getting a little thicker here. The white and the darker green are setting up a little. So as it pushes, it's not quite pushing away as nicely as the first batch. It won't affect this, but you definitely, if you do this method at different traces, so really thin trace to a light trace, to a slightly thicker trace, you're going to get different results as well. And they can be cool. It's not to say that too thick a trace is bad. As long as it's still fluid and you can pour it, go for it. Okay, so now we poured at the side. You can already see that I'm going to be pouring more than just one color as it comes out the pot. Same thing, back and forth at an angle. You can slowly lower it as you go. But you can see already the variation that we're getting, more color mix here than we have in, well, that we got in the first one. There you have it. I'm actually gonna add some embellishments I have because I made them and I need to use them to the top of this one, but it won't affect the cut or the loaf or how it looks. So, okay, so I did add the embellishments on top of this one, and you can see that again, the top is yellow and the inside is definitely more yellow. This is giving us definitely a different swirl pattern. You can see it's more tiger stripey going back and forth and less solid color. So if we look at the first batch, you can see how there's more solid and then the stripes kind of work themselves in. Where this one, the whole thing is stripes of different colors interlocking. I really actually love the look of that. Like, just look at the flow. Isn't it pretty? I really like that one. This one doesn't have quite the same flow. As I said, no two bars are ever alike. I really like this. I like this top too. That's where instead of where I didn't keep pouring down the side, I started pouring across the middle when I got to the very top. Isn't it pretty? I love this technique. It's so fun and relatively simple to do. Look at that. I said no two bars are ever the same. Ah,